have to unclick. So thank you very much for that. I just want to remind everybody, if you could please mute yourselves. It just helps with the feedback, please. And
sorry, I just missed who seconded that. Sorry, Chair Johnson.
Oh, that was Joe.
Joe, okay, thank you.
And I just want to let everybody know, I always ask who's opposed. It just makes it go a little quicker than trying to figure out everybody's hands that are up. If I think that it's a little bit on the controversial side, then I will ask for a roll call on that vote. So the first thing, declarations of interest. Donna, you usually let everyone know that these are your opinions only and not that of where you work, etc. Is that the same?
That would be the same, thank you.
All right, no problem. Okay, so folks, we're going to go right to 8B, because usually at the beginning of every meeting, we always say that we're recording it just to let you know. Well, we're just adjusting now to Cyberland, folks. So we're going to put a formal motion to let everyone know on this committee that we are going to be recording every meeting, and we are going to be posting it on the website as per we do for the board authority. The only thing that we cannot do financially right now is to do this live as a web stream. So all we're doing is housekeeping at this point. We're just, if we do the motion, then we know that everybody on the committee already knows that we are recording. And just as a personal note, if you don't want people to see your washer and dryer in the background like me, this is why we're recording too, so we can find out where you live. No, it's really so that you might want to change your background or change where you're sitting, but that's up to you. But they are going to be recorded as we always have. And just like at Balls Falls, if people choose to come in and visit with the meeting and watch, then they're more than welcome to do so. But I'm just letting you know, again, we're just learning about this cyber stuff, right? So Carrie, can you do me a favor, please, and just put that motion on the up for everyone to see. I'm going to have Harry and then seconded by John Musso as a seconder. So if you want to read the motion is pretty basic. And I
sure,
I'm going to share.
I will read it out loud. Natalie was going to, sorry, Natalie.
It won't let me share content right now for some reason,
okay.
And we're both hosts. So just give me a second, just bear with me.
I was going to say, or would it work if I put it in the chat? Can everybody see the chat?
Well, it's pretty simple. Why don't you read it off? And if we're finding people are confused, then we'll do another way.
We're having technical difficulties with the hosting. So the recommendation would be that the NPCA public advisory meetings be recorded for the remainder of the pandemic, and that recordings be posted to the NPCA website within 1 week of each meeting.
Okay, and I've got Harry and seconded by John. Are there any discussions about the motion for housekeeping? I'm not seeing anybody. I'm waiting to see if anybody unmutes themselves. Nope. Any opposed? Donna? I'm sorry, you have to unmute yourself, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it because I tend to say things and I don't always edit myself online. And so my input will be restricted if I know they're going online. And that's just how it is.
Okay. And I think I said this earlier, if we were at Balls Falls, nothing would be different. We'd still be recording and we'd still be putting it. Yeah, I know. It's just welcome to my world.
Yeah, it's a one-time thing, and seeing me in person is a whole lot different than watching me on video 4 days later, forever and ever to come. So
I hear you. Okay, Harry, you had something to say?
I mean, because this is a public forum and our meetings are usually held and open to the public in any event, I normally for board meetings of private organizations or even a not-for-profit, I'm not a big fan of the recording, but in terms of this particular committee that we're on, I think it's appropriate given that we certainly can't invite people into our homes to observe the meeting, and I'm not so sure I want to do that anyways at the moment. So I think we have little choice but to keeping in the spirit of it being a public advisory committee that we publicize our meetings.
Thank you for that. Anybody else? I personally think that it's a wonderful thing if we can post these on the NPCA. All it does is brings more attention to the hard work we're doing. And trust me, Donna, I have literally, and John will attest, I have literally said the wrong things always at the wrong time. So you're in great company.
Yeah,
All right, so
I don't need to be swearing online. So that's all there is.
all right, so it has been moved by Harry, seconded by John. Any opposition? Can we move this forward? Seeing none, thank you very much, everybody. It's carried. So now we go on to presentations. We don't have any yet. We're going right over to discussion items where Natalie is going to help us out. No delegations at this point, but we are going to approve the minutes of February the 25th, 2021. So I have on my list, Cindy Lead is going to move the minutes, and it's seconded by Erica. Anybody have any questions or concerns about the minutes? And if not, I'll just ask who's opposed. Seeing none. Okay, thank you. So they've been approved. There's no correspondence. There's no consent items. So we're going right into discussion items. This is strategic planning progress, update and input. So Natalie is here to do a presentation on the strategic plan, and she's really looking for your input in this. And she's going to start sharing, which means I won't be seeing you if you want to speak. If you know how to use the chat, it's right at your bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You punch it up, and then you just put your cursor over to enter chat message here and click and start typing. If not, if you want to shout out, I just want to see if we can do this orderly so we're not disturbing Natalie in the middle of her presentation. So Natalie Green, good to see you again.
Hi,
Go ahead.
thank you. Hi, thank you, Chair Johnson, and thank you, Public Advisory Committee members, for this opportunity once again to provide an update and to gain a little bit more input from you on the strategic planning process. So you may have seen this timeline before, and I think I presented it probably in September. So it's been updated. As you know, there was a pause in the strategic planning process because of Bill 229 right before the Christmas break. And so now the timeline has been updated, and we are continuing with our progress, and all milestones and activities so far are on track. So we're really excited about that. But a quick recap. In case you need it. We started the process back in Q4 of 2020, and we started with planning, putting together the communication engagement plan, which you have seen. It has been brought here a couple of different times for input. We've hired a facilitator to help with some of the discussions that we're having internally and externally. I'm in a meeting now. Can you come back? Sorry, my children. And then we move forward to internal engagement and external engagement, and that was in the new year. Prior to that, actually, I should mention as well that you were engaged as a committee in the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, which was a big component, front-end component of the strategic planning process, and was used in the internal engagement and as part of the survey as well. So we've compiled all of that information, and we started internal engagement with staff back in February, and that's when I did a verbal update to this committee. It was the day before we were going to have our staff meeting. And so that engagement session had really great involvement from staff. We had over 90% of our current full-time staff participating in that and helping us put together these strategic priorities and refine them a little bit more. And then we thank you for your input on the survey. We used all of that information to start the public survey, which is currently now in progress, and your input and your participation in providing that feedback really helped make that survey stronger, and we're really excited to have that out right now during this initial process. So we're right at the end of Q1. I guess we're starting Q2, so April starts the portion of Q2 for 2021. So the survey will be closing next week, May the 6th, and we'll be gathering information from that survey, summarizing what we can, pulling out that information, and then starting to develop our goals and actions, key performance indicators, and starting to put together the draft strategic plan for internal review. There will be another opportunity for external engagement once a draft strategic plan is ready, and that will be toward the end of Q2. We're aiming for June, end of June-ish, as long as everything else goes smoothly. So public engagement, as you know, and I've talked about it before, is really important. It's a key component of this strategic planning process, and there was a commitment early on to engage the public and our internal and external stakeholders in developing this new strategic plan that will help shape the next 10 years of conservation in the Niagara Peninsula. The engagement portal is currently live, and the website is here, and it's easy to find. You can go just to our regular website, npca.ca, to find the link as well. And I encourage you to go there. All of the information about what's going on and the links to the survey. We have a couple of other tools as well on the portal that you can have a peek at and participate in. So this was all part of our communication and engagement plan. So right now we're in the inform and the involve and collect feedback stages. That popped up. That's interesting. So some of the tools available, I mentioned this already. So there's an anonymous survey. You don't need to register to the portal to access it. We're looking for input on our draft strategic priorities. We've provided some text to help generate ideas and provide some thought towards the input that you're going to be providing. Again, all of you have seen this the survey, the draft survey, and you provided excellent input to making that survey stronger and more valuable. So thank you again for that feedback. It was really excellent. There's also a new tool on our portal called the Ideas tool. So it's essentially another question from our survey, but we've it's a contribution tool. So if you have ideas toward a shared vision, you can leave them here. It's just a little bit of a different type of engagement as opposed to just a survey. The survey and the Ideas tool is open until May the 6th, and we encourage you and ask you kindly to help us get the word out to have more participants in that survey. So far, I just wanted to let you know we have had a very good response rate, and we have quite a few participants, nearly 400 already participating in this survey. So we're really excited about the kind of participation that we're getting. So I'll just, the rest of my talk now will be a quick overview of how we got to our strategic priorities. I'll go through the 7 draft priorities that are being proposed. And then at the end of that, we'll have a roundtable discussion. Perhaps Chair Johnson can help us go from person to person. And if you want to provide some input, you can. Of course, these are the same priorities that are in the survey. So if you've already filled that out, maybe you have no more to add, but we wanted to provide this opportunity and to ask for input. So how we came to our strategic priorities and onward and where we're going with it. As I mentioned earlier, you'll recall the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats exercise that we did in the fall of last year. So that was the SWOT. A few of you participated in that. So did the staff and the board. So all of that information was compiled and synthesized and put together. And then we conducted a gap analysis on that particular synthesis. And we looked at those gaps, and they turned into priorities for us, and we refined them a little bit, gave them some nice names, and put them forward to the staff. And the staff then further went through and revised them a little bit more, and that's what you saw in the draft survey and what I will present today. So our strategic priorities are broad and should aim to help us meet our mission and mandate. And they can be broken down into external results of priorities or operational priorities that enable us to do our work. From there, the strategic priorities can be broken into goals, and goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic. I also like to use the word feasible. And then our goals can be further broken down into actions. How are we going to attain those goals? We're going to be dividing them into short-term goals, so things that we're doing now and looking to do within the next 5 years, and then our long-term goals, so things that will take us to the 10 years of our strategic plan. So that's how we've broken down what we're working on right now. So the staff were given, we went through the SWOT gap analysis, and then we presented them with some options for strategic priorities and asked for their input. This is a staff-led process. So we asked for their input and their feedback on the different priorities, what they should include. Perhaps was anything missing? Could anything be combined? And what we came up with were the 7 that were presented to you in the survey and are here. So I'll go through those in a little bit more detail, so I won't read them to you now. You can see them on the screen. We also worked on during our staff session our core values, and we came up with a few here: integrity, respect, collaboration, accountability, continuous improvement, and leadership. Our core values are how we behave as an organization, as staff, how we conduct ourselves in our daily business. Our vision and mission, we started working on keywords and phrases, and again, we use this input in our staff survey, in the public survey, and for the board session as well that followed the staff session. The vision is where we want to go and what we envision the watershed or the organization being. It's our purpose, our destination as we move forward, and our mission is how we will get there, the how and the what. So I'll get started. So I'll go through these 7 briefly as an overview. This is the same text that you would have seen in the survey if you filled it out. So they're all here in blue. The one that I'm talking about will be this orange one, if you're wondering why one is highlighted in orange. So the first priority that we've proposed is healthy and climate resilient watersheds. This is about integrated watershed management. It's aimed at understanding, protecting, and improving the natural heritage features of the landscape. It could include things like preparing and protecting people from, natural hazards and properties from natural hazards, preparing for the impacts of climate change, protecting our drinking water sources, improving water quality, habitat on the landscape. So, you know, the watershed and habitat component of what we do. The next one is sustainable growth, and this is about supporting our municipalities with creating using smart growth principles. It's aimed at using a coordinated approach and emerging practices to support building resilient communities in the watershed. It involves our role in land use planning while protecting natural heritage features, being able to lead the use and helping support our municipalities with the use of green infrastructure practices like low impact development techniques to solve different environmental challenges. And then I've talked about the smart growth principles. So things like having nature connections, reducing urban sprawl, walkable communities, that kind of stuff that still relates to the work that we do within the municipalities and our communities in the watershed. Connecting people to nature. So this is about recreation, about education, about culture. It's aimed at strengthening conservation through fostering community connections. It's giving people the access to diverse lands, having equal access to public green spaces. We know through COVID that green spaces have become incredibly important, not only for our physical health, but also for our mental well-being. We need to be out in nature and enjoying what nature has to offer us. And so we want to highlight that. It could involve connecting trails and green spaces, promoting active transportation, and that is biking, walking, hiking, providing nature-based education to help create the next generation of environmental stewards. So, you know, the youth, enhancing our environmental stewardship and our volunteer opportunities, and enhancing cultural connections that can also support diversity, inclusion, and Indigenous reconciliation. Next is organizational excellence. So this is about just being a great organization. It's aimed at providing high quality of service, accountability, and transparency by adopting high standards of service delivery and using state-of-the-art digital technology to support our internal processes and be able to deliver on our goals more efficiently. It involves investing in our staff, creating a healthy work environment, promoting a culture of innovation. So, you know, rethinking the way that we do things and how we can best grow and do those great things with our stakeholders. Keeping up with technologies, improving our policies, processes, and procedures, and also being the local leader of the environment, right? So we are a conservation authority and we want to reduce our day-to-day operation carbon footprint, or showing that we are environmental stewards organizationally as well, not just promoting it to our external partners. Financial sustainability and innovative business models. So this is aimed at being a fiscally responsible, stable, and sustainable organization through diversifying our funding sources, creating innovative business models and partnerships to achieve our goals. It includes building capacity in the areas of service offerings to our municipalities and other partners, and also leveraging the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Foundation to help raise funds. Partner of choice. So this is aimed at or recognizes that we will best achieve our strategic priorities and our goals by working together with our partners, with our stakeholders, with the entire community. It's aimed at forming a community of practice, so that's many people working together towards a similar goal, enhancing our government relations, fostering better relationships with our stakeholders, providing expertise to our watershed community, and building capacity in new and emerging areas such as climate change and green infrastructure. And then the last one I have to present to you here is marketing as a destination of choice. This is about highlighting the Niagara Peninsula and our conservation areas as a destination of choice due to its distinctive natural heritage features and its very unique position between two Great Lakes and the Niagara River, and being one of the gateways to Canada. It includes attracting more visitors to our conservation parks through ecotourism and staycation experiences. Again, through the pandemic, we've seen that people are staying at home and they're not going places, and they're enjoying birding and all that nature has to offer. Contributing to the local economy, which we do through bringing people to our CAs, and promoting our NPCA properties. Sorry, I'm being distracted by my children. So now I'm going to take this down here, and I'd like to take a moment, perhaps Chair Johnson, if you wouldn't mind going through the members, and we can do some roundtable feedback. What we're looking here for is some feedback and input on these draft strategic priorities. Are they appropriate? Do you have any ideas on some goals and actions that we could consider? Is there anything that we've missed, or that you think that you would like to share with us as you think about those priorities?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go to the bottom of the list. Dion Kelly, by the way, is having some issues getting on the meeting, so he won't be able to, he sends his regrets.
He's here now, sorry.
Oh,
he joined
sorry?
in. He just joined in the middle
you.
of Natalie's presentation, so sorry.
Okay, well, I'll leave Dion at the end. Only that wouldn't be too fair to have him called on right away. So, John Arians, I know that you've read a lot of this. Take a look at the priorities and the goals and actions. Do you have any comments that you'd like to add, or have them change?
I think it's fairly comprehensive, Brenda. Great job here. It's it is very all-encompassing. It deals with development issues. It deals with conservation issues, public safety issues. The tourist attraction stuff. I don't know if we're really suitable to handle that. I mean, most municipalities have the economic development and tourism components, but certainly working collaboratively, like some of the strategic priorities are partnering with these agencies, I think is critical. So to become the environmental leader in Niagara, I think is a great priority. So yeah, I think this is all very positive, and we're certainly heading in the right direction here.
Thank you. And I think you can see that Natalie's typing in what everyone's saying, so you know that she's listening. If you want to read it afterwards and say, no, I didn't say that, please put your hand back up and Natalie can change.
Okay.
Thanks, John. So everything okay? I can go on to Donna now. Okay, thank you. Donna? I don't know if we lost Donna, or she just
No, I'm here.
All right. So Donna, you've seen the presentation. What do you think of the priorities, and what do you think of the goals and actions so far?
I think they're very comprehensive. I think they're well explained, right? Yeah. Everything kind of fits under there. Will they help staff define what they do and what they don't do? I think one of the problems in organizations is that, let's make sure everything we do is fit under here, except it might not necessarily be everything we should do, right? Like it should be able to define the direction in which staff take. And so if it's all things to all people, what's not in it is, I guess, what I want there to be some thought and discussion around. What are we not doing? Right. And so, John pointed out, marketing, right? Well, maybe it's not marketing. Maybe we don't do the marketing, or we market only our stuff. It's putting the boundaries and constraints on that. Otherwise, what do you say no to? and
Right.
and you don't have enough staff or enough capacity to say yes to everything. So
absolutely.
So that's my concern kind of moving forward. Part of the data and the advantages that the Conservation Authority has is all of the landscape data. And as much as it says, healthy, resilient communities, it doesn't refer to the Conservation Authority being the go-to source for that data. And that might be under a goal, like maybe that's a goal under the integrated watershed management piece that says, our goal is to be, the people that have, the data on the watershed, where are the invasive species? Where is this? Where's that? We're the one source that we want people to come to. And maybe that's one of the goals under that. So that's what I'd like to see as a goal.
Nice.
I put stuff online. I'll probably put stuff online again. Every now and then I go in and go, oh, I'll just add this, and I add it online. So
oh, good for you.
that's
Natalie, we found out who it was.
Yeah. No, I know.
I know the sample size is so high.
No,
Donna in there 25 times.
It's not.
I'm just
okay,
joking.
cool.
Oh, no, we're just teasing you.
No problem. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, thank you for your comments. Well done. I'm going to go to Erica now. So Erica, do you have any comments on the priorities that they've set out and goals and the actions in which they want to do them in? I don't think you're unmuted. I can't see you, so I don't know. So Carrie, can you see whether or not Erica is still with us?
She's muted. She did have her video on earlier. I'm just going through, but it's kind of just a blurred picture.
Okay, I can come back. No, I'll come back.
I tried unmuting her, but I don't have power.
No worries. I'll come back later if we missed anybody.
I'll send her a chat message and just see maybe she's having issues with her audio.
Sure. Okay, so Cindy Lee, I've got you up next, if you don't mind, commenting on the priorities. Go ahead.
Yep. So just because I'm kind of coming in halfway through everything, so I'm understanding these priorities are what's viewed would be viewed the priorities for the watershed, which would allow staff to engage in their priorities for the organization, as well as meet, some of the public input that's been put in as well, right? Yes.
Go ahead, Natalie.
Trying to do too many things at once here. Yes. So our strategic priorities and our entire strategic plan is to give us guidance and direction and have us marching towards the same goals and the same vision.
Okay.
If that clarifies it.
Yep. It's really, again, I agree. It's comprehensive. It covers a lot of areas. There's a lot of areas here. Again, I don't know the capacity in being the organization to do all this. I would, particularly when I'm one of the things I did notice was a little bit around the pertaining to, I guess that would be your partnerships in some of the areas of connecting people to nature, as well as areas in the way of the marketing destination and that area of like travel, right? So I would be interested in those conversations that are yet to come on the involvement in partnering on meeting these, like being able to maintain these priorities, right? So like marketing destination of choice. I mean, I would hope, and I would think, of course, the Indigenous First Nations agencies would be involved with that, because we have a very large landscape of nations. We have a number of things that are in the Niagara region historically, right? So I think it's a lot. I think it looks good. So it covered everything, just that there's a lot there. And I guess if I was a staff, how would I guess it would be that what are the next steps that will be coming to kind of how do I work towards, like, how do I know I'm working towards that, like in my everyday job, right? Like, but I know that's probably coming down the way. So yeah, that's what I
No,
wanted
but
to
those
share
are
with
good
that.
comments. No, those are good comments. That's
But
what
yeah,
we're
the
looking
marketing
for.
yeah, the marketing aspect, you know, and partner, that one and the other one on the, I'm just going up here, connection people to nature, right? So I'm thinking that there would be partners involved in some of these things, that would be able to lend that knowledge and be able to be in line with these priorities too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. That was what I'm really glad. I'm super excited. Everybody's got something to add to this, Natalie. John Musso, I'm going to go to you next if you're available. If you have any comments on the priority list and the goals and actions that have been stated.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, perfect. Can you turn up your volume just a little bit? I'm really getting old. I think we talked about this earlier about how old I am. That's why I got my vaccine earlier than you.
Maybe I could just yell a little louder. I don't really know.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Again, I think everyone else is saying the document is well done. Under the sustainable growth section, you guys note some of the growth principles. And one of those growth principles that I've looked up, something to make note of is, you know, make development decisions predictable, fair, and cost effective. I think that helps both industries and both partners in the Niagara region. So I think that's something important in the sustainable growth section.
I like that. I like that that everybody understands the rules too. I like that. Good for you. Is that everything, John? Can I go to Harry, or you have any more?
I'm good.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Can I just remind everybody to mute themselves if they're not speaking? That would be great. Harry, you're up next if you can. Give us some input on the priorities and the actions and goals.
I think it's a great strategic plan that's being presented. I've been around for, I think, 2 iterations previous to this, and I see this as being focused and truly aligned with what the NPCA's role and responsibilities are. And I think it will provide a good overarching tool to have people focus on what services and what the role of the organization is in relation to sustaining the watershed in Niagara. Well done.
Oh, good to hear. Oh, Natalie, this is kind of nice. We should have these meetings every week so you can get that the incentive going. Joe, I've got you next, then Mike, then Dion. So Joe, have you got any comments on the priorities and the actions and goals?
Surveys are like a mystery to me. I filled out tons of them over the ages. Sometimes they can be designed to elicit certain responses. I know this is a staff-driven effort, and I think it probably got you the information that you want, and that's probably a good thing in that context. If you'd hired a consultant, the survey might be different, not necessarily better, but it might be different. I guess somewhere out there, somebody's might ask the question whether staff has the objectivity sometimes, because they're kind of in the middle of things, and having been in the middle of things myself a lot of times, sometimes you don't see things because you're in the middle of things.
Yeah.
But I think the survey will do what you wanted it to do. For me, real input is when people make submissions and tell you things you didn't necessarily think were coming. So I would hope that you're open to receiving submissions from various and sundry stakeholders. Might get you some information that you didn't get out of this.
So for instance, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
For instance, have you got anybody in particular you're thinking of?
No, I'm kind of on your side of the fence now. So if I was on the other side of the fence, I could probably think of something and write you something interesting.
Well, you know what? Feel free if you want to just draw your blank of your mind one day and then just send it in to Natalie. I'm sure she'd appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly encouraging my constituency to read things over and said you do the survey and to send you submissions. So hopefully that gets you stuff, and maybe some of the submissions will bring you some stuff that you didn't get out of this.
Well, you're doing your part. Thank you. I have Mike and then Dion, and Erica is unmuted, so we'll go to Erica at the very end. Sorry, Mike, go ahead, and then Dion.
Thank you,
Mike?
Chair. I think what comes to mind is not stretching too thin. I'll be short and sweet. So I think being able to take on and be able to deliver upon what's requested. And I think I've been cruising some of the municipality websites, and I like it's kind of the we want to hear your opinion. The MPCA advertisements right up there on the homepage. So I kind of like to see that up there and really entice the public to have that opportunity. So because usually people that don't vote, or what do they say? People that vote or don't vote always are the biggest ones to complain, right, or whatever. So something like that. But well, no, that's all I have. And thanks for my little yellow box.
Oh, that's awesome. Good. Dion, you're up, and then I'm going to go to Erica. So Dion, welcome.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about being late, but I'm just going to leave my video off so that
That's
I
a
don't
good
lose
idea.
control.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to help though when we do that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I thought it was a very well put together strategy. It seemed to touch on every sphere that the NCPA deals with. I am particularly impressed to see that the consideration of staff and their input on achieving these priorities has been taken into account. I do wonder about the resources in meeting some of these priorities, and particularly because some of these priorities do require the collaborations with other entities. I'm wondering how you would adequately measure the performance, but I am upbeat and I do see this as a good move forward.
Okay. Thank you, Dion. Erica, I hear you've been unmuted. You're still muted.
Hang on. Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yay.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'll learn how to do this skit. Well done is my input. It explained a lot. And of course, there was a lot of information there. I am quite excited for you and hope that, yeah, the public gets word of this and gets to know the NPCA, a bit better.
Super. That's super. So Natalie, if I can sort of paraphrase everything, I'm hearing often that we seem to have a lot of ambitious goals up here and that people are a little worried that the staffing may not be able to handle all of it. And also there was one interesting comment that, of getting other people other than staff, because it can be a little on the bias side. Absolutely. And I think going to the community is really important. And I think Natalie is doing her utmost best to get out to the community. But thank you, everyone. That is just remarkable, the comments that we got. Did I miss anyone before we move on? No, I don't think so. So Natalie, I'll just come to you to wrap this up.
Yeah, I have one more activity here. It's a little bit more fun. You just have to bear with me. I'm just going to pull up. It's a poll. We're going to do a quick little practice. And if you've participated in the survey, I suppose you've probably already done this, but it's fun. So we'll do it again. Hang on a second here. So we're going to start with just a test one. Am I still sharing my screen? Yes, I am. Okay, great. So I'm going to open this. On your screen, you will see a poll, and I ask that PAC members have a look at it. It's just for now, it's just what is your favorite color? Hopefully you can see that. It says people who joined from video systems can't view. Okay, so some of you may not be able to view it. I hope that you can. It worked with board when we tried this. So it's just what your favorite color is. The options should be on the right-hand side of your screen. You just pick a color and then hit submit, I think, right? And then I'll close it. There's a time limit of 5 minutes. How many PAC members do we have, Carrie? 7?
Natalie and Dion came in after, so I think we're up to 9 now, plus Vice Chair McKenzie and Chair Johnson.
Okay, so it's telling me 10 people have participated. Does anybody need more time?
And I was one of them, so I probably screwed your results.
So it's okay. This is just a fun.
That was the wrong word.
So Carrie and Vice Chair McKenzie and I will not be participating further on because this is really to get the PAC members, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Sorry, I was.
No,
okay.
no,
This one...
I did the same thing. My favorite's green, by the way. That was mine. So I did the same thing.
This is why we do a practice run first. So now that the poll is closing, it's just given me 5 seconds. I don't know if you see it on your screen. Quick countdown. Okay, so now you should be able to see the results, right? So it looks like blue is the top favorite color with 5 people. All right, so now we're going to close that one. And we'll start the... Do not want to save those. Okie doke. All right, so now on your screen, can you still see my slide or is the WebEx blocking it?
I can see both.
Okay,
yeah,
because I can't
see your slide in the poll.
Okay,
Yep.
I don't know how to make this go away. Okay. So a vision statement. So this is asking about a vision statement. So a vision statement is our destination, our future-oriented declaration of our purpose and aspiration. So these are some keywords that came up with staff. So the poll is asking you to select a letter. A is champions of environmental leadership. Healthy and resilient watersheds. C is connected and climate resilient landscape. D is a healthy landscape now and for future generations. E is watersheds for everyone to work, live, and play. Stewardship towards a healthy environment is F. G is conservation of natural features. H, thriving and vibrant landscape for all. I is watersheds to live and grow. And J is sustainable management of natural resources. So we're just asking that you select your top 3. It doesn't have to be 3, it could be 1, but you have to pick something. Your 3 vision phrases or keywords that resonate with you, something that you believe describes the NPCA's vision and your vision. So what we're looking to do here is find a vision that is shared between us, and we're going to use this input to craft our vision and mission statement. So again, the poll should be on the right-hand side. I've got 7 people who have completed. It says 1 is in 9 are done, 1 is in progress. Just want to make sure that's a PAC member. Has everyone been able to participate in the poll now? And I cannot see you, so we have to unmute and say yes or something.
Or just say if you haven't been able to.
That's easier. Thank you, Carrie. Okay, it looks like 10 are completed. So I'm going to close the poll now. And I will post the results so that you can see them. And they're everybody's together. So I'm just going to mark here real quick. So we've got a vote of 4 for champions of the environment. We've got 4 for healthy landscape, 4 for no more than 4, right? Oh, yeah, so 4, lots of ties. So I can save these and then we can move ahead. I'm all done now. Maybe I can just, I have one more slide if that's, you can still see my slides, right? Yes. All right, so to wrap up our next steps, as I've mentioned, right now we're doing the public outreach and engagement session 1, and the survey closes on May the 6th. We are going to use that information, review and synthesize the survey results, and then we'll begin putting that information together to help develop our goals and our actions and our performance indicators. And then that will all feed into creating a draft strategic plan. And as always, I will come back to this committee, and I believe your next meeting is in June with hopefully at that time I will have a draft strategic plan to present to you. We'll be looking for input again at that time, and we'll be looking to do some more public engagement toward the end of June. So we will be also looking for your feedback and your input on the approach in terms of engaging the public in that second phase as well. Thank you so much again for this opportunity to share with you, and thank you so much for your very valuable input and feedback.
Thank you, Natalie. I think that was really well done. Really appreciate it. I've seen a few of your presentations now, and I'm just so amazed at all the work you've gotten done. Congratulations. Before we wrap up the strategic plan, I'm just going to go to our CAO. Chandra Sharma, to see if there's any closing remarks before we go to adjournment.
No, thank you, Madam Chair. Other than thanking the committee for all their volunteer work and input, I have no further updates. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this committee to me is the most valuable committee that we have. So I'm actually going to get our friend Cindy Lee, and seconded by Erica, to receive Natalie's presentation. Anyone opposing? Thank you. And then our last motion, unless there's any new business, does anybody have any new business before we wrap up? Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. We have Michael.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to highlight recently some members of the agricultural community reached out with some questions with regards to certain trees and woodlots, and I was able to connect with Carrie, and she pushed me, not pushed me, but she was able to get me involved in her web at the NPCA, and the staff members were very responsive to provide answers and solutions for the situation. So I just wanted to kind of provide some praise to the staff members around that the topics that I've been engaged with last few weeks.
Thank you, and I know that Carrie and the staff are very grateful for that. Oftentimes we don't hear the good stuff. Very often, no one hears good stuff. It's always bad stuff lately. So it's really wonderful. Thank you, Michael, for bringing that up. Any other comments or new business before we go to adjournment? Okay, so it's moved by Donna and seconded by John that we adjourn. I think John's still on. Yep, and so is Donna. Let's see if Donna's still here. Yep, great. So we're going to adjourn. Is there anybody opposing going to have their dinner? No? Well, thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you in June. And thank you for letting me chair your meeting tonight. Maybe what we can do is next set of business is to ask for a vice chair. See, maybe we can get a vice chair involved so that if Jackie can't make it, then she could have her right-hand person. I hope they're as good as Bruce is. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.